Answer on this one is 10. Answer is 12. To solve this, you have to move this to the right side and make it plus. That gives you a -1 on the right side, but you must divide both sides by this -1. Answer should be +1. You have to move this over to the right side, and the sign in front of this 4 is plus, but it's not written. So on the right side, it would become -4. That gives you a -5 on the right, but you must divide both sides by this -1. Answer is +5. Alright, on this one you have to move this to the right side and make it plus. So you have a -4 plus 2 on the right. That's going to give you a -2. Divide both sides by this -2. So you have a +1. $19 out of 21. That's going to be 90%. I'll double check that. Yep, 90%. If you have credit for your homework, pick a number from 1 to 20. The winning numbers are 10, 13, 14, 16, and 18. Multiple choice, block letter only, none of this Bartley stuff. Bringing up the numbers. Find the Y-intercept. On this problem, if you're looking for the Y-intercept, you put a 0 in for the other variable x. And when you put a 0 in for x, it cancels out 6x. It just becomes 0. So you're left with this and this. Divide both sides by -5. Those cancel, and you'll be left with a 3. So that would be B. Here are the homework answers. On number 1, you have y equals 0.10x plus 10, and it must be what's on the screen. The only exception is that you don't have to have a 0 in the x coefficient. You could have 0.1x, and that would be fine. Must have the y equals. Number 2 is y equals 0.50x minus 80. 3 is 0.30x minus 30. Y equals 0.30x minus 30. 4 is 0.20x minus 50. And 5 is y equals 0.30x minus 110. Today's objective: create an equation and graph it. Here's the first example. A teacher will give a minimum score of 60% on a test, even if a student misses all questions and shows all of their work on the test. For each problem the student answers correctly, the teacher will give 5 percentage points. Create an equation that represents this scenario and graph it. Okay, so just right off the bat, what if I had 5 questions right? How many points would I get? 25 points. And what's my minimum score? So what's that added together? 85%. What if I had 6 questions right? 30 plus 60 is 90. Okay, what form does this equation have to be in? Right, y equals mx plus b. And what is the 60 going to go in for in that equation? The b, yes. It'll go in for the b. and we get 5 points per problem. What is X going to represent? Number of problems you got right, yes. So if X is the number of problems you have right, where do I put the 5 points? By the X, yes. Y equals 5X plus 60. So we ran through and already did a test where we came back with, I think it was 90 points and 85, so let's try them again. If I get 5 right, 5 times 5 is 25 plus 60. Is that what we had when we first went through it? 85. If I get 6 right, what do I get back? 6 times 5 is 30 plus 60, 90. So that's what we came through with. So we don't have to change this around to match the reality of what you should get. But now we have to go graph it. So the equation we have to graph is y equals 5x plus 60. What do I have to do to my graph first? What do I need to do? Scale, yeah, we have to scale the graph. We have an x-axis here and a y-axis here. What does the x-axis represent? Number of questions you have right. So we'll put number right here. And when I put the number of questions I have right into the equation, what number does that give me back? If I get 5 right and I put it in and I calculate this, what's that number represent that I get back? Percentage points, yeah, which is your watt, your total watt. Starts with an S. Score, yes. It is your total score on the test. Okay, so let's start with the y-axis. Now keep in mind from what we've already learned that the more numbers that you cram in between each hash mark. For example, if I started here with 0 and I went to 50 and then 100, there's 100% right there. Would I have a very easy graph to make and read? No. What if I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for my percentage points? What's wrong with that? Yeah, not enough space. You won't even make it to 100%. So what can I do with my particular piece of graph paper here? Yours could be different. What can I do to scale this piece of graph paper? You could go by tens, and if you went by tens, here's what it would be. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Can I use the rest of this space to space that out even more? So instead of tens, what do I use? Fives, yes. We can go by fives on this one. On my piece of graph paper, yours is probably different. So if I'm going to go by fives, do I have to write 5, 10, 15, 20 all the way through this? How can I skip? Every other hash, so I'd end up with 10 and then skip 20, 30, and moving on up, 40, 50, 60. I have to go to at least 60 because that's my Y-intercept, but since I'm up here, I'll go to 80, and I'll just stop there. Now what about here on the bottom? Do we know anything about how many questions are on a particular test? No. What if I skipped all the way over to here and put a 1? Would that be wise? No. What if I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Would that space it too close together? Can I do something to spread this out? Yeah, we could skip every other line. Skip 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll just go with 10. Alright, so now we have to plot the y-axis. What is the y-intercept? 60 is the y-intercept. So I need to go here and plot a dot on the 60. So we have that. What is the slope? 5 over 1. So I have to go up 5 from this 60. What kind of movement am I going to make? How far up do I need to go to represent 5? Halfway between 60 and 70. Is there a mark already there that creates that? Yeah, 65 right there. So I can do that. Go up to 65. I have to go to the right 1. So should I just go 1 block and stop? No. How far do I have to go? I have to go 1 more, because don't forget we skipped every other hash mark on our x-axis. 2 blocks equals 1 on the x-axis as we scaled it. So don't forget that. Now we have to match these up, and I can start right down here. I have to just pick a spot and start there and try to make it parallel to the 2 dots, and then hope that when I move it over it becomes accurate. And we'll test that accuracy right now. I'm going to pick a question, and this is how I'm going to grade yours when you bring them up to the table. Let's try 4. What if I have 4 questions right? How many points would I be earning if I had 4 questions right? What's my total score? If I put in 4 for this, if I put in 4 right there, 4 times 5 is 20 plus 60, 80. Yeah, so now here's how I'm going to have to test it. I got to draw a line here from 4 and go up until I reach that line, and then from 80. Did I hit this? Yes, I did. If you want to be certain that your graph is completely accurate, you can test it with that point. And if it's not, go back and erase it. There's another way to test it before you even draw the line. And here it is. The points that we drew back here were the following. We have a Y-intercept, and then the slope was up 5 over 1. There's nothing that says you can only use 2 lines. You could also do this. What if we used what I just found? This one. What if you plugged in 4 and found that it came back to be 80? Plot that on your graph. So now you have 3 points. You could pick a 4th one. What would you get if you earned 5, or if you had 5 right answers? You would end up with an 85. Plot that on the graph as well. So now you have 4 points. The more points you have, the more accurate the line is going to be. Here's a speed problem to the first 6 people. This is exactly what we just did to find the points on our graph. Just picture this as being the test. You have 3 right, so 3 times 6 is 18 plus 30 is 48. The first 10 people. Alright, the answer for this one should be 214. Try this one and bring it up. On the practice problem, you should have an equation that is y equals 4x plus 40. If you don't have that, the graph is going to be off. So over here on the graph, we have to graph y equals 4x plus 40. And I'm going to go once again with the same scale that I had before, and I'll go by tens. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to go by 5s, so we'll go 10, and then 20, 30, 40, 50, and then 60, 70, and up to 80 for right now. On the bottom over here, I'm going to make this go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 at the least. Now we have to plot this. I need a dot on 40. So here's 40. The slope is 4. So you should be, or at least I should be, as close to the next line up as possible without going over, So it's going to be right about there for the 4, but I have to go to the right one and make a dot there. But I want to be as accurate as I can be. So I want something that's going to give me the result of a test score that ends with a 0. So what if I put in a 5? If I put in 5, my score would be 60. So I would have to go over here to 5 and follow it up and then make a dot at 60. That's going to help me be a little bit more accurate. So here's the line tool, and let's see how this goes. Oh, I may have gone right through it. That would be very rare. I'm going to double check this. Okay, we're going to stop it there. Go here. And to check your graphs, here's what I'm going to look for. I am going to look for, let's see, 5, 6, 7. Oh goodness, let's try 3. We'll try 3. If you get a score of 3, then you should get, or if you get 3 right, you should get a score of 52. So you should be crossing above the 50. Just above the 50, and I'll zoom in on it right here. Notice how they meet at this point, and 50 is just above that. You would have a 52. So if your line passes through on the 5 x value here between let's see, that's 50 and then 55. If it crosses in between there, I'll give you credit for it. Tomorrow is a test. The test will cover the following 2 items. Find the x and y intercepts from this form of an equation, and find the x and y intercepts from this form of an equation. That's m. Y equals mx plus b. Remember that you have to put a 0 in for x if you're solving for y, and a 0 in for y if you're solving for x. This is the y-intercept in that form. And if you want to find the x-intercept, you put a 0 in for y. If you put a 0 in for y, you could end up with a situation like this. We did bonus problems on this as well as practice. You move that to the left, change the sign, and then divide. X would be -2. The answer on this bonus is 194. Answer to this one should be 192. This one goes to the first 10. Answer to this one is 540. Alright, this goes to the first 6. Answer is 120. To the first 10. Answer on this one is 160.